The days had been long and hot when Eleanor had led her little group into the Emyn Muil, following the hints of news about Aragorn's whereabouts in order to rejoin the hunt for Gollum. The days were shortening now, and the air was turning chilly as the end of summer turned into autumn, and still no trail had been found. Eleanor's little band of soldiers was full of dark whispers and growing discontent as she finally led them out of the great hills and towards the reeking fens below to meet Aragorn once more. They met under the rim of an overhanging cliff as an autumn storm began to build in the night sky above them. Aragorn crouched near a low fire, adding more wood to it, never taking his eyes off of a small figure curled up in the shadows, its hands and feet bound together with tight cords. In the far corner of the little shelter, Gandalf slept, with his back reclined against the stone of the wall, his staff held limply across his knees. As they approached, he stood up and called out a soft greeting to them. Eleanor returned it, and then turned her attention to the creature, bound and whimpering. "You have done it," she whispered, her voice slightly awed at the sight. "You must tell us the tale of how this was accomplished. My men have spent these last months scouring the Emyn Muil to no avail, and our tempers are wearing thin. A good story about the successful end to their hunt will work greatly to revive their spirits." Aragorn smiled in understanding. "It is a long tale, and much too tedious to recount in full, but I shall attempt to relay the highlights of the venture, and I hope they will perform the task you have set them, lady. Hello, and welcome to Agents of the White Council. I'm Onitson, and this is my narrative campaign for The Lord of the Rings: The Living Card Game by Fantasy Flight Games, in which I follow a group of heroes as they quest across the length and breadth of Middle-earth, fighting back against the Shadow in the east. Today we will be attempting the Dead Marshes, the fifth quest of the Shadows of Mirkwood cycle. Our lineup today is unconventional, to say the least. We have abandoned our traditional two-handed playstyle to focus on a single deck, and that single deck includes only two heroes. I'm aiming at a thematic approach to Aragorn's hunt for Gollum. We have just Aragorn and Arwen here, and a deck loaded up with attachments and events to make this work. Narratively, we are going with the conceit that Eleanor and her band of soldiers have been stuck in the Emyn Muil trying to find Gollum, while Aragorn found the trail and followed it into the Dead Marshes alone. So, anyways, let's take a look at our opening hand. We have a number of interesting attachments. Strider to start with. We could boost our willpower and get some action advantage. More willpower boosting, some readying. We don't have Elven Light, which is really one of the things I look for in the opening hand, because without it we can very easily stall out as we play everything we have in hand. We have deep knowledge, but we don't have the Ring of Bear here to give us the lore icon to play it. So I think that despite the otherwise excellent options we have here, I'm going to take a mulligan to try to find Elven Light. And we haven't found it, and we ended up with a hand arguably worse than we started with. But them's the breaks sometimes, so let's go ahead and get started. Into the marshes. You have followed Gollum's trail for days and are now closing in fast pursuit. In a last-ditch effort to escape you, the creature has fled to the Dead Marshes. Search the encounter deck for Gollum, add it to the staging area, shuffle the encounter deck, and then reveal one card per player. The first card is Wisp of Pale Sheen. Place 2 resource tokens on Gollum. And the second card is Impassable Bog. When revealed, place 1 resource token on Gollum for each location card in the staging area. This triggers before the bog itself is added to the staging area, so the effect actually fizzles, which I suppose is a good thing. And then there's a flavor text quote from the 2 towers on the reverse side. So let's go ahead, draw our first card, Elven Light, perfect, and collect our starting resources. I think we will start by playing Strider onto Aragorn. Oops. That'll add 2 willpower. This deck actually cannot possibly end up controlling more than 5 characters at a single time, so that shouldn't be a problem. We'll always have that +2 willpower, and we will not exhaust to commit to the quest. Aragorn has built-in readying, but I would prefer to use some of that, to use his resources to play some of these other cards, rather than spending them all on readying effects. We will discard the second copy of Strider for Arwen, placing the resource on Aragorn. We could have played Strider on Arwen and had 2 readied heroes at the end of the round, or at the end of the quest phase, but the deck includes 3 copies of Light of Valinor, and that one can't be played on Aragorn, so we'll take a small hit to our efficiency now in the hopes of drawing benefit from it in the future. So we will go ahead and commit to the quest. 4 with Aragorn against 1 for the Impassable Bog. Just a moment. I revealed 2 cards for quest setup when I should only have revealed 1. I'm so used to playing 2-handed that I went ahead as if I were still doing so. So, there's actually no threat in the staging area, so we will commit Aragorn alone, saving Arwen for escape attempts and leaving Aragorn ready for combat, hopefully. Our reveal is the Lights of the Dead. Each player must make an escape test. Aragorn will exhaust to make this escape test. It is 2 cards from the encounter deck. No escape value. Escape 3. Aragorn's 4 is higher than the escape value, so we have succeeded. And that is the end of the round. We have made full progress on the quest. Arwen will exhaust for the escape attempt at the end of the round, dealing 1 card per player. 3 willpower up against 2 escape. And again, we succeed. We will ready everybody up, draw our next card. Gandalf is good. And we will play Galadriel. Looking at the top 5 cards of the deck, choosing an attachment of cost 3 or less, Calabrian's Stone, and putting it into play, and then returning, and then putting the remainder of these cards back in any order. And now we will discard Elven Light to Arwen, placing a resource token on her, spending the resource token to return Elven Light to hand, drawing a card, and then spending her final resource to play Light of Valinor. And now both of our heroes are questing without exhausting. Aragorn for 6, Arwen for 3, and we have a great deal of willpower available for escape tests. Alright, so we will commit characters to the quest. Aragorn for 6, Arwen for 3, Galadriel for 3, for a grand total of 12 against an empty staging area. We will reveal wargs. And we will make 10 progress, advancing the quest. After a tiring pursuit through the treacherous marshland, you have cornered Gollum and move in for the capture. Then we will engage the wargs, dealing them a shadow card. Oh, before we do anything else, that is not what happens. First, there is an escape attempt. And Aragorn will exhaust for that escape attempt. And we will reveal Pursued by Shadow, which has no escape value, so we succeed. And Arwen will defend against the wargs, who will deal a point of damage and return to the staging area. Galadriel will leave play at the end of the round. We will draw another card. There's Sneak Attack. We will discard Elven Light to put a resource onto Aragorn. We will spend a resource, Marwyn, to draw a card again. And then in the quest phase, we'll spend a resource to sneak attack Gandalf, reducing our threat by 5, because I can't think of anything else to do. And we will quest for nine against 2. And we will reveal at the end of the phase I think Gandalf will return to hand before the escape test triggers, which is unfortunate. So we will quest with Gandalf. We're doing 13 questing power against 2 threat. We reveal Nightfall. First player makes an escape test. If it's failed, place a resource token on Golem and raise each player's threat by 2. And we deal 2 cards. Because we will also have an escape test after completing this stage. We could not exhaust anybody, place a resource token, raise our threat, and then we would have to deal 3 cards. Let's do that. Place a resource token, raise 2 threat. Well, we'll deal 2 cards from the encounter deck. That's no escape value, but since we committed nobody, I think we still count as having failed that. We put 11 progress on that quest stage, returning Gandalf to our hands, and now we make a final escape test, to which we will commit 9 willpower, revealing 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. We have revealed escape value of 4 against our 9 willpower, and we have won the game. Well, that was more than a little bit anticlimactic. I think we spent more time reading the introduction than we did to actually playing the quest, but we were remarkably successful, actually, I think. In my test plays, I normally haven't passed through so quickly. I guess this is a quest that can be susceptible to rushing through it. The deck, well, it was a very fascinating idea. It's filled with a bunch of readying effects and a bunch of other ways to get activation advantage. Gandalf and Elven Light were card draw. Galadriel acts as a sort of pseudo card draw as well. And if we get the Ring of Barahir out, we can play Deep Knowledge. A couple of ways to boost Aragorn's attack through the Dunedain marks and also through the Tale of Tenuviel. Exhaust Arwen to ready Aragorn and get +3 to his attack. The other event that this deck really centered around is Fair and Perilous, which would add Arwen's willpower, hopefully boosted by something like, say, the Necklace of Girion, to her attack, letting her attack for between 4 and 6. 7 perhaps with the sword that was broken, more if we had a Protector of Lorien and could discard extra cards in our hand. Elrond was included to sneak attack for healing, if necessary. And then, as I said, a number of reading effects, and mostly willpower boosting effects, because this quest can be hard on the hero actions, especially when there are no allies to cover the slack. But still, we had a remarkably softball time of it, and I suppose that we shall find some way to work this into an engaging narrative. This quest has a reputation of sometimes being a bit of a slog, especially if Gollum gets shuffled back into the encounter deck. I'm glad that didn't happen this time. Anyways, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed not watching us slog through 13 turns while we wait for Gollum to return to come back off the top of the encounter deck. And I hope you'll come back for next time, the Return to Mirkwood, which is the climax of the cycle with regards to the quest difficulty, even though arguably the narrative climax, the actual capture of Gollum, occurs right here in this quest. So as I said, thank you for watching, and I hope you come back again for the next one. Goodbye.